to my channel. So today's video, you're thinking, Eve, we're in lockdown, we're in quarantine, why are you so dressed up? Lizzie Barnett, my friend, wanted to film a TikTok and she was like, you're all gonna have to get full ready. So that's why I'm wearing this top. I am in fact wearing joggers underneath, so don't be fooled. And this amount of effort is not being put in because I'm going to meet friends. I'm not, just so you know. If you want to follow me on TikTok, my TikTok is Eve Bennett XXX, which I will craftily put on the screen right now. But that's enough self-promo for today. On to the video. Do give this video a thumbs up if you would like an evening routine. I didn't actually ask properly in my last video and I got a couple of comments, but I didn't give you like a way to say whether or not you wanted an evening routine. So if you would like an evening routine, give this video a big fat thumbs up. But without further ado, let's actually get into this video. So today's video was requested because of my morning routine, and it's basically how to have like a structured day, or just to have some structure to your day slash a routine, especially if you don't particularly have like online school. I know a lot of you have been messaging me saying now they've decided how they're picking grades, I don't have any work anymore, or like if you're at uni and all your assignments have been made optional. I wish I could relate. I've still got an entire term waiting for an email from the faculty, but you know what it'd be. Let's talk about that some other time. Yeah, so basically this video is about how to sort of like give your day a little bit of summit, a little bit of something to wake up for, so that you don't just feel like completely, what am I doing with my life, every day you wake up in this quarantine, which is fair play, to be fair. So the first thing you need to do is to make some overarching goals. So these are goals that you want to achieve by the end of quarantine. Obviously, there is no pressure for you to complete one or all of them, but it is nice to have something that you can like look at and think, that's what I'm working towards. So for me, for example, I am trying to learn Summer Highland Falls. Where is the sheet music? I'm trying to learn Summer Highland Falls by Billy Joel because it's one of my favourite songs. It's quite difficult for someone like me who's really not that good at piano. But that being said, it's on my list of things to complete. I also want to make a document of all of the useful Spanish I'm going to need when I go on my year abroad, because I am pretty good at Spanish, but my basic Spanish, like my directions and stuff, sometimes I forget them. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I also want to just lose a bit of weight, tone up, like generally just feel a bit better in myself and just exercise as much as I can. So those are some examples of like goals that you can set yourself. What this will do is it will mean that you are not struggling to put together a to-do list every day, because what you can do now is you've got all of these little things that you can do a little bit a day towards. So rather than me doing the entire Spanish document in one day, for example, or sitting and trying to learn the whole of this in one day, which not only like is impossible because you get bored, but also like isn't the best way to do it, you can then do like 30 minutes of the document one day, a 30-minute workout in a day, 30 minutes piano practice in a day, and that means that slowly you're getting building blocks so that you can make a structure with for your day. So that stops you from A, not really knowing what to do, and B, like you have like little things that are equipped, like it's as if you had classes essentially. So right now I'm in the VAC, so I don't have classes, and so instead of doing an hour of grammar on a Wednesday, I'm doing an hour of piano practice, and it just means that you've got little things that you can build a timetable with, even though you don't technically have a timetable. This will keep your day as varied as possible, and it can be anything. It can be like practicing makeup, it can be baking, it can be whatever. Say if it's baking and you want to perfect your baking skills by the end of the quarantine, then just bake something different every day. Or if you want to improve your cooking, then scheduling cooking dinner every day for your family. Like, it's really easy to do. That being said, it is also good to make a to-do list every day, because there might be random little bits that pop up that you kind of need to do. So as well as like your overarching goals, you might have some emails you need to reply to, or you might have an article you need to write, or something like that, or like you might have to run some errands, like go to the shops, obviously 2 meters distance from everybody, but you know what I mean. So basically you can put all of your little random errands that pop up like throughout the day onto your to-do list, but you also have your set to-do list. So for me, for example, a to-do list for a day would look like do a workout, read a bit of your book, do some piano practice, do 30 minutes of vocab document, and then I've still got work to do for uni, so that is another sort of set of overarching goals I've got. So like I'm doing like an hour of linguistics a day, an hour of my special author a day, an hour of Quizlet, whatever it is, and that means that you've got building blocks with which you can plan your day. And you don't need to have a set schedule every day. Now you've got these little building blocks, you can like switch them around depending on how you feel. And if there's one day where you're really not feeling like doing some baking, for example, then do an hour of something else rather than half an hour. Or if you're doing 45 minutes, then do an hour. Like, you can just change it around as you want. But if you're thinking, oh, how do I schedule this? I have a way that I stick by. So in the morning when I wake up, I think, what do I least feel like doing today? And I always do that first, and that is always either reading my book or a workout. So in the mornings I tend to read my book and do a workout, or just do a workout, because I know that if I don't do it in the morning, I will not do it. And the same goes with work. I always start with my least favourite task, always. And as the day goes on, I tend to work towards less strenuous tasks, because by the end of the day, quite frankly, I'm not paying much attention. So if I leave vocab until the end of the day, vocab does not require a lot of my physical energy, and so that means that you're like winding down but you're still working. Whereas if I do vocab in the morning, yeah, great, I've bashed through it, but when I come to doing a workout at like 5 PM, I'm gonna be like, no. So it's always good, I think, to in the morning each day assess what you want to do first and make sure it's something that you don't want to do. So the less you want to do it, the earlier in the day you want to do it, because that also means that when you're coming to winding down in the evening, you're doing like more enjoyable activities, which I always think is a win, because then it means that you're just like easing into that gin and tonic hour, which is always like 6 PM for me. So stuff like admin, for example, that like I don't really like doing, so I tend to do it earlier in the day, whereas stuff like vocab I'll happily sit and do for a few hours, or piano practice, so that goes later in the day. But this being said, I know I'm saying like to structure your day you need to have all these little blocks, but do make sure that you have some free time to just kind of do nothing. This is not like some period where you need to come out of it with like a giant set of new skills and like fluent in 700 languages. Honestly, it's a really stressful time. You're probably worried about relatives. I know that I am. There's probably a lot going on right now. Forgive yourself for wanting to sit on TikTok for half an hour. Forgive yourself for wanting to watch some YouTube. For me personally, I'll always have like an hour off in the middle of the day for lunch. I'll have little breaks in between. Like, this is not A-level revision season. You are in a weird historical event. Like, you are literally living in 2050's history textbook. Forgive yourself if you just want to sit and have a cup of tea and scroll through Instagram. Like, it is fine. If you wake up and do nothing all day, it's fine. For me personally, I just need to have a structure and a routine to my day for the sake of my mental health. But I understand that so many people are just thinking all I want to do is sit and play The Sims. That's fine. Yesterday, I bashed through my to-do list, and then I got to sort of 3 PM and I was like, you know what, I want to buy Tiny Living's expansion pack on The Sims and play in a tiny micro house. And that's what I did, and it was great. Forgive yourself if you are not as productive as you want to be, because I just defy anyone to be super productive all the time. A, when you're stuck in the house and you've got no change of scenery whatsoever, and B, when there's literally a virus spreading across the world. Like, you're okay. Sorry, that was a bit of a side note. I don't really know like why I went off into that. That's usually what I do at the end of the video. But the next bit is sort of like kind of going against what I just said about no change of scenery. But for me personally, to have a structure to my day, I like to leave the house mainly once a day. I definitely have days of the week where I just can't be bothered, and that's fair play. But honestly, going for a walk, it's getting out the house that's the hard bit. And once you're out, like, you can go for miles. Like yesterday, I was like, I don't want to go for a walk. I don't want to go for a walk. I walked out the house and I was out for like an hour, because that's as long as you should be spending. Government mandated, whatever. But yeah, I would say in terms of punctuating your day, going out for your walk, make sure you put it at a time of day where you feel like your energy is flagging. So for me personally, that's about 2-3 PM. I just run out of energy. I tend to go straight after lunch, usually. Generally tend to go straight after lunch, because that's when I just need time for my food to digest and I'm not going to be working anyway. But obviously you could prefer 10 AM, you could prefer 5 PM, like, I don't know your personal preferences. So yeah, make sure you punctuate your day with some exercise or a walk. I'd also really recommend in the evening winding down with some like yoga or meditation or stretches. I find personally, like, if I start the day with a workout, I'm getting all my stuff done, then closing it with sort of like a stretch or something is like giving you that perfect sort of like start and end to your day, and it means that you're really getting into a routine. So I really like yoga with Adrienne. Lydia introduced me to her a couple of days ago, and I've been doing her bedtime yoga, which I love. I think it's so good. So I'd really recommend that. But anything you want to do, if it's just a bit of headspace, like you name it, then definitely do that to wind down at the end of the day. The next thing I would say is to try and not work in the evenings. So obviously it depends on what time you tend to work most productively, but because of the nature of what's going on, like, I think it's really good to switch off for at least a couple of hours in the evening before you start the whole day again, because it gives you something to look forward to all day, and it gives your day like a light and a shade, if that makes sense. So you have like your work period, but you also have your relaxation period, whereas if you're just sort of half working, half relaxing all the time and you're not leaving your house, like, you're gonna get really, really worn down. So for me personally, after about 6-7 o'clock, I tend to like put my laptop away. Like, I'll go and watch some TV, I'll have a glass of wine, I'll have some cake, like just sit and chat, play The Sims, just do all the things that I enjoy doing when I'm at home. And I know that's rubbish, because normally in the evening I would go out for a meal, I would go to the pub, I would go clubbing, I would see my friends. And yeah, it sucks that we can't do that, but maybe schedule a FaceTime call with your friends. Obviously though, I wouldn't recommend like FaceTiming somebody every day. I personally find it really exhausting. Sometimes it's nice to have some evenings to yourself. You don't need to be extra social because you're social distancing, if that makes sense, but definitely try and have a point in your day. If it's not the evening and you work better in the evening, then try and have your mornings off. Like, try and have a section of your day where you're not trying to be productive, because you will go insane. I'd also suggest taking the weekends off. Obviously, I don't know how much work you have. I've got so much work, although I still don't know what I'm using it for, but like, anyway, I've got a lot of work, and I have never taken the weekends off. Like, even when I was doing my A-levels, like, at uni you don't have time for a weekend off. So I'm mildly terrified if I have to do term from home, because I actually don't know how I'm going to cope, like just working solidly all day every day for 8.5 weeks, but it's fine. It's fine. So basically what I was trying to say before the existential dread of Oxford's crushing weight of workload just came upon me was that, what was I trying to say? Yeah, take your weekends off. I've been doing that Saturday today, so weekends now are for like filming videos for me, reading my book, watching movies, doing a bit more of an extra workout than I do during the week. And because we're stuck in the house, that gives my week a bit of structure. It's like you have weekdays and weekends, because I know for me personally, I don't really tend to like the weekday weekend divide. Like, I just get on with life, but I've got nothing to punctuate my time now. I'm in the house constantly. So I'd really recommend considering taking, if not Saturday, Sunday, like a day off a week, just so you've got, again, a loop, a schedule. Like, each day, like, you're like, okay, I've got this day's a work day, and then I've got an off day, and then I've got, like, it gives you a bit of like routine, but also can be flexible. And also, I would really recommend at the end of your day, each day, check in and think, okay, how's today been? Have I felt like it's been structured enough for me? Is it too structured? Am I struggling to keep up with like the timetable I'm setting myself, or is it not structured enough? Did I find myself at a loose end? So for me, like, I've kind of got it down now. I generally just sort of like do a really intense productive day, and then the next day will be slightly less structured, and that's always tended to work for me. I like, my brain can't do it any other way. But just try and check in with yourself at the end of the day. Be like, am I spending too long on X? Like, could I be spending more time on Y? Was it good to do my workout at that time of the day? Would my walk be at a better time? Like, just keep adjusting it. Like, it's a work in progress. You don't need to set a timetable and stick to it. Like, the beauty of this weird period of time is you've got time to figure out what you want to be prioritizing and what you want to be doing. Like, that's fine. And finally, the advice that none of you want to hear, sorry, is go to bed and get up at the same time every day. At weekends, do whatever you like turn your alarm off, but try, I know it's shit, but try to go to bed at the same time and get up every day. If that is literally going to bed at 1 p.m, no, not 1 p.m, 1 a.m. and getting up at 10 a.m, that's fine, as long as it's the same time every day. For me, generally now, it tends to be midnight and 8:30, and that's kind of like where I'm at. Like, generally, obviously, I'm not saying that I do this every day, because I don't, but I'm just saying, if you can, would recommend trying to get a bit of a sleep schedule, because once you've got that in, then your routine will start to fall into place. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, was just rambling, shock horror, what's new, but I hope that this gave you some tips and tricks on how to kind of make your day feel like a day and not have them all like blur into one. Let me know in the comments if you have any other tips and tricks that you could share with people. We're a big community here and I want to help you guys out, and I want you guys to help each other out. And yeah, I'll see you Wednesday, hopefully, if not next week, with a new video. Bye guys. Mwah.